Smartbuilder Software is an Irish firm which was founded a couple of years ago. We're based in Dublin, but we also have an office in London, and our primary market focus is on the UK. So probably a lot of what I have to say will be about the UK market. The previous speaker mentioned the Comet organisation. I was just thinking that that was founded in 2005, the same year that the iPhone was invented, I believe, and 5 years before the iPad. And back then people were using PDAs, which were fairly clunky and very expensive. The manufacturers of these rugged PDAs were charging an arm and a leg for them, and in fact they still do today. But now we're into a new era of smartphones and tablets, and you might expect that every site in the UK or in Ireland is using mobile IT systems in field, but in fact this has been a relatively slow process. The construction has been likened to an oil tanker, which takes quite a while to move around. So there's quite a few issues to do with changing the culture, the ways of the processes. That there certainly is a generational issue between younger people on site who've grown up with technology and older people, particularly from a trade background, who have never handled tablets. So there's quite a few issues that have to be addressed, but we're very optimistic about the trends in this field because there is, in fact, a huge demand and need to do things more efficiently out in field. And earlier some speakers were talking about teams being co-located. Well, of course, even if a team is co-located, they of course are not co-located out in field. Only some people are out in the field, and there's an urgent need to get information back to team members, both about design problems and also about snagging, compliance, communicating with subcontractors. Of course, the whole process of managing subcontractors and the work of subcontractors is the process of building, since the building is largely achieved through the work of subcontractors. So I'm here to tell you about our in-field system, Smartbuilder1. I'm going to show you some videos. Unfortunately, we can't do the sound on them today. And then at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about mobile BIM. So our system, it's been used by a number of major firms. We also are targeting specifically the SME sector. Our application is particularly suitable there, and we hope not to go head-to-head with Autodesk throughout the UK. This replaces paper inspections. It cuts the time, we find, in terms of communicating to subbies by up to 50%. It replaces carrying rolls of paper under your arm. Also, our system is not designed purely for snagging. It works with any form of compliance list. Andrew mentioned that they're looking to have it operating throughout the entire life cycle of a project. That's exactly what our system is also doing, because it can handle effectively any one of the numerous types of checklists that have to be uploaded to the system. So it's also used, of course, in snagging towards the end of a project, building services. It can also be used in fit-out, but an additional area for it is its use by consulting engineers in surveys. So it can be used to go around and capture information about existing assets without necessarily creating workflow. Something seems to have got some technical gremlin. Oh, it's working. Okay, great. Sorry, just go back. This is a large file. I think what I might do is could I switch over to my other computer? Or?
Yeah. You think it will work?
It should play automatically once. Sorry, I just got. I'm going to have to switch to the other computer. I'm sorry. For some reason, I sent it here and it was loaded onto the Cita one, but it's a large file. So if you just bear with me just 1 second, I'll just get the other one. Is that okay?
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
The first point here is it's used for managing subcontractor defects. So we can simply go around, add a defect into it, as you can see here. Then you can add in a variety of different... There I'm using voice to text. You speak into it. Getting text into this fairly quickly can be important, particularly if it's large blocks of stuff. You don't want to be typing a lot of things. What I'm doing here now is I'm into a drawing, electrical drawing. As you can see, it handles any form of drawing. Some systems only handle GA drawings. Our system handles anything. So we can now go into an image. We can draw on the image. And all of this information is now sent off. I'm not going to go through the whole process of sending it, but it's now sent off and assigned from in-field, obviously through the server, which is based in the cloud. It's sent to the subcontractor. The subcontractor can then handle it a number of ways. If he was using a tablet, he could log on a browser site, but he can also print it out quite simply. He doesn't have to use tablets, and gives it to somebody to do. Then when he's ready, he can log on again, call for reinspection, and then it's closed out. That's the way the system works. So as I mentioned, it also handles any compliance list in field. So I haven't shown the server side of it here, but this shows a compliance list where we're going through a number of items, ticking in fact that we have compliance. If we don't have compliance, we create a defect or task. What's interesting here is that as well as going around and accepting items, we can also, of course, capture information about them. We can mark it up in the drawings. We can take images. We can do voice to text, and we can also record audio files as well. So communicating design defects is a further aspect of it. Here, for instance, a pipe doesn't fit, and we're going to need some form of redesign. So I'll just show you, take you through that. Piping does not fit. So that's just part of it. I can now go into the area, take an image of it, draw on it where the piping is supposed to fit through. Then I can mark it up, of course, here. Now create an audio file. You have a problem here with the piping. It's not going to fit. There's insufficient headroom. Looks like you're going to have to redesign it, please. We think that the use of audio as well as images is very valuable because it allows you to rapidly get information and also create audio files which have been listened to by the server side by people, engineers in remote locations, and thereby can convey a richer total information about a particular problem, possibly obviating the need to actually go out on site and look at it themselves. So we then have, obviously, all this is driven from the server side. The tablets operate in field, offline, and then they sync to the internet and to the cloud side. You get these reports on the server side, complete with all of the information. Again here, this shows the same one. I'm not going to play the same audio file again. This shows an example of part of a report. One of the things we can do, of course, is we can export these also in Word, which means that we can cut and paste and drop them into reports where, for instance, surveys are required. Then this shows our new design working on smartphones. We're changing the UI around, and we're going to be introducing a revolutionary new version of the product in the near future. We're looking here at closing defects on the smartphone. The defects are just color-coded. We just open them up and close them. Let's close it on the server. And although I don't show here, we have a similar database, I believe, to the Autodesk one, where we can generate a series of pie charts, bar charts, We can show, for instance, rework by subcontractors. That is, those subcontractors who didn't get it right first time around and are therefore contributing to slowing the process down. There might even be some possibility of a claim against them. So one of the other advantages of using this sort of technology, of course, is that you can carry drawings around. You don't have to go out with rolls. You can have all sorts of different drawings here. You can have drawings for multiple systems. You can have elevations, as I'm showing here, electrical, HVAC, and so on. Ultimately, this is going to be replacing printing out those huge, expensive A0 type size drawings and plotters, which are very expensive actually to do. One important aspect of this is it's fairly easy project setup. You can set up a new project on this yourself without any assistance from us in probably 30 to 40 minutes, including provisioning of mobile devices. The drawings are uploaded in their entirety. You don't have to be tiled. You just click browse, select them in PDF format, upload them to the cloud. It's customizable in a range of ways. We can upload any particular checklist. We can define various settings, trades, and so on. So because of that, as I was saying, it's also useful not just for snagging, but for instance, anything from civils, pouring concrete, rebars, all the way through. So as you can see from this, we're operating in 2D images at this point in time. We haven't incorporated BIM into this, but this is an important priority for us. I'm also involved in the COMET organisation in the UK, and which is run by its directors, but there's also an advisory group. I'm actually on that advisory group, so I get a good insight into what they're doing in the area of mobile BIM. There are a number of different types of clients for this. There's obviously ones that combine with a defect system. There's ones that are just pure mobile clients at the moment, like the Bentley one, of an existing BIM vendor. And of course then there's stuff like what 4 projects and Unit 4 are doing in the collaboration platforms space. So there's many issues around this. The area of mobile IT systems in field is still at a relatively early stage. And the area of mobile BIM itself is also a very small market at this particular point in time. We think potentially it'll be very large, but at the moment it's very small. So we're analysing various options at the moment as to how we incorporate that into this. And a very important aspect of this is the cultural aspects of it. All of this technology involves cultural change, and it involves people learning to do new processes. And we think it's very important that this not be entirely driven by a technology push approach, but be driven by what people really want to do with this technology. So that's the sort of stuff that we're investigating and building into our plans. So we'll be progressing this, but in the meantime, we believe that there's a great deal that you can do in 2D with Smartbuilder1 at the moment. Thank you.